Hey there, my name is John. You're watching the Stryx YouTube channel, and today, 7th episode in a series of videos of behind the scenes of Stryx. So at this point, we formulated, designed, packaged the product, we launched the website, we went through an accelerator, and now we are going for our third product, which is our gel cleanser. So there's a video on our channel where we talk about the Kickstarter and a little bit about the process, but if you'll remember in some of the other founder videos, we talked about the lip balm was almost a third product. And so what was the movements really that ended up making the gel cleanser our third product?
Yeah, so most of our product process at this point is really guided by customers. So the reason why we went with the gel cleanser over the lip balm for the third product, which is again the first new product, right? Since we launched with the concealer and the tinted moisturizer. So for the first new product, we went gel cleanser because we were hearing feedback from guys that this stuff was rubbing off on their pillow at night. And, you know, either that's because a lot of guys don't know how to properly wash their face or even bother washing their face, but it could also just as well be that guys are just using products that aren't designed or don't have in mind the fact that a guy might have makeup on or cosmetics on or more intense skincare products on that need to be removed from the face, like SPF products, right? You don't want to sleep with that on your face. And the reality is that a typical men's face wash just doesn't address any of those things because it's just not the assumption. Again, you know, in Stryx fashion and the way we like to do things is if we went back to square one and formulated a product from the ground up that was designed for men who might have a more intense skincare regimen, who might have some makeup on their face, what would that look like? How would it work? And so we came up with this really natural vegan formulation for our gel cleanser, but it does a really, really good job at stripping cosmetics from the face. And you know, John, you and I always joke that, you know, the way this whole thing started was guys were stealing products from their wives, and like we want to be making a line of products that wives are stealing from the guys in their life. And so, you know, that's been the case with the gel cleanser. It's been my daily face wash, and my wife pretty consistently is stealing it from me to remove her makeup. And, you know, it's a really great product. It's a great daily face wash, but it also solves that problem of how do you get these products off at the end of the day. So it's a very necessary product to have, because if we're introducing these new makeup products to guys and then, well, now they have so they've solved the pimple problem or the blemish problem or the redness or whatever it is, but now they have this new problem of how do they get the makeup off at the end of the day. So we're solving that problem as well. But the lip balm is coming shortly, we promise.
I can remember testing the formulations, and I would have just a full face of tinted moisturizer, and I had one white towel that I was like, if I can clean my face, wipe the towel, and not have any of the tinted moisturizer left, then that's what we had to go with. And there was a few of them that definitely was not the case. I got some very brown white towels at that point. But yeah, this is the one that I was like, wow, this takes it off cleanly. My face feels really good. And so I know that was a huge consideration too, is we talked about wipes and doing something like a quick wipe, but we wanted to have a way to not just remove it, but also nourish the skin as well and really leave it feeling healthy, which is not always the case with makeup removal wipes.
Yeah, and I mean, we may or may not have some makeup removal wipe samples that may one day see the light of day. But, you know, I think for most guys, it's a question of how do you simplify things as much as possible. And it's not because guys aren't capable of doing more. I mean, certainly they are, you know, and many guys have many steps in their skincare routines and processes. But the reality is if you could do one product that does two things really well, you know, it's nourishing face wash every day and also removes makeup. So it's like, you know, I use it at night before I go to sleep, but I also use it in the morning before I would put on a concealer, just because it's a great everyday face wash. So we definitely want that in the lineup. We think that there's also potentially room for those other sorts of products as well. There's no question. But, you know, to start with a product like this, you know, it's like an all-in-one. It's you know, you got the concealer, the tinted moisturizer, the gel cleanser, in the starter kit that we're selling now, and it's the whole routine in 3 products. You know, can't get much better than that.
We also went the Kickstarter route because we wanted to get it out sooner than trying to wait either for sales or for raising money. And so that was an experience in itself.
Yeah, for sure. I remember working on that with XRC and some of the back and forth there. Yeah, I mean, it was great to see that we were really able to raise this money from our strongest customers and friends as well, obviously. Yeah, and it allowed us to, at the time, before we had raised money, to be able to go into production much earlier and launch this great new product that guys wanted from us, but that had we not raised the money from Kickstarter, we wouldn't have been able to do. So I don't necessarily see us really ever going the Kickstarter route again in the future, but at the time it was the right thing for us, and it worked out pretty well. I also think we've got to be one of the only Kickstarters to ever deliver early, ahead of schedule.
Feels that way. I definitely have some that were late. We also, our timing was impeccable because we closed it like at the end of February. We ended up going into production right as most of the world was shutting down, and we still were delivering early. So, I mean, our timing was extremely lucky there too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a funny story there too, because we moved production out of China to the US thinking that we would save ourselves from coronavirus, but that was not to be the case.
Yeah, well, just for the tubes, because our manufacturer, we were really excited to have a manufacturer in the US as well.
Oh yeah. All the formulation stuff, all that stuff, that's all done here. It's all filled here. It's all certified here in the US, but the tubes and the caps needed to come from somewhere else, but we ended up doing those all over here in the US as well.
Yeah, I remember dealing with that in February, and we were like, we might have to do this, and there's this weird thing happening there. And then we felt it in March. So you actually teased a little bit right there when we talked about the raising money. And so that's a gel cleanser. It ended up going live on the site in June, and that's one of the products that CVS is now carrying as part of our rollout. So they have the concealer and the gel cleanser. And then, this full starter kit is on the website. And so you can get the full kit, which will be updated soon with products 4 and 5, which we've also been teasing. And so in the next video, we're going to talk about the process of raising money and why we did that entire process. And so if you want to see more behind the scenes stuff, we'll have videos linked below for all the pre-launch stuff. And then join us in the next video to talk about where we are now at with Stryx as we've launched the product and even rolled out in a major retailer. So that is Stryx, you more handsome.